Pet Trustee sponsors Let's Talk About Animals, hosted by Jewel.
I've been looking forward to this show, Let's Talk About Animals, for some time because today we have a very special guest, Carole Taylor. And Carole has worked with the Southampton Animal Shelter Foundation and works there as absolutely, if you're not the dog whisperer, I tell you what, Cesar Milan might really get jealous because she is a magician when it comes to working with animals. And she doesn't just get the light, easy, fluffy pets. She gets ones that really you would almost be afraid to meet firsthand. Carole, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm very excited to be here, and I just want the whole world to know about our wonderful shelter and our wonderful dogs. We're always looking for people who would like to adopt the dogs, and we're always looking for volunteers, and this should help us a lot.
Well, tell us about Lexus. We have a star dog here, also available for adoption.
Well, Lexus is part pit bull and I think part rabbit, because if you look at his ears, no, he's a pit bull, and he came to the shelter, surrendered. His owner had 3 dogs. The first 2 were surrendered, and then saying that they were allergic, the people were allergic. And then Lexus, he kept Lexus so that Lexus could have more babies, so that he could sell the babies.
Oh boy.
When he was finished, he brought her in, and she, 2 months ago, was crawling on her belly. She was so frightened. And now today, she's one of our star. Come over here, sweetie pie. Come up here and say, Mommy. She's so well behaved and so excited, and she is looking for a mommy and daddy that's going to love her. She's smart, and she's intelligent, and she gives kisses, and she's delicious. And we just love her on the program. Our special needs program, because she just responds to everything.
Well, I think that when the shelter was founded, originally it was like a pound before then that was owned by Southampton.
Yes.
And they had all of these pit bulls that were there that nobody seemingly wanted a pit bull. Yes. And it was a very difficult situation, and you're an anonymous, wonderful benefactor who prefers to keep silent, stood up to the plate and took over this and privatized the shelter. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, you bring up the subject of pit bulls. They happen to be the most wonderful dogs in the world. It's not the dog. It's the person that raises the dog that makes them who they are. And because they're so brilliant and so physical, they can be anything. But they're great kissers and great lovers and just wonderful, wonderful pets. But the shelter itself has come a long way in a very short period of time. And wait, excuse me.
Who needs makeup?
Right. And we do our best to have every kind of program there is to help them become more adoptable. We have a full medical program. All the dogs get checked out immediately. We have a behavior program where the dogs are evaluated, and a program is planned, all keeping in mind that we want the dogs to become adoptable. So if we can discover any problems that we have to work on, then we do. We have the special needs program, which is my program, where I take the dogs with special needs. Now, any dog in a shelter has a special need. It's usually that they want to be loved. And so that's what I give them. Come over here, sweetheart, and try to be well behaved.
This is your audition, Lexus. Right. If you want to be adopted, now's the time to really show your stuff.
The special needs program is physical therapy to begin with. So if they have any physical problems, I plan a program of exercise and range of motion. And then it's also, there are dogs that are depressed, dogs that are anxious, dogs that are aggressive. All of them respond to this program because we adapt the program to the individual needs of each dog. So we've been very successful with our adoption rate. And we are now going to start an agility program. We have some equipment in the backyard, and the more you keep them busy, the better. And dogs that are in a kennel, no matter what kind of dog they are, develop stress.
Yes.
And just like human beings, when they exercise, the endorphin level rises and calmness sets in. And so that's what we do. And right now, I'm waiting for her endorphins to get in so we can relax her. But in the meantime, she just has too much love to give.
Oh, I'm going to tell a story about Cindy because you've invited us over to the shelter a couple of times, and it's been a wonderful experience, and the staff there is absolutely amazing. But what's so funny is they have one dog there that's a pit bull, I believe, and her name is Cindy. And Cindy is having a romance with Phoenix, and so Phoenix is this hyperactive pit bull, but she told me that Cindy has a tranquil effect on the other pit bulls, and this dog is so precious. Cindy is just so wonderful. So next time, bring Cindy. No.
Well, you met Cindy's son, Dane.
Oh, that's the one at the beginning of the show that's sitting in my lap, the big one. That's Cindy's daughter or son?
Son.
Son, yes. Oh, it was adorable.
Part Great Dane, part pit.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they are adorable. Now, it's amazing that you have, they built a special place, or it's actually a trailer, and it's called the Doghouse. And what they've done for you is made you a very quiet office, and a typical day would be that the dogs that are, you told me that you don't just work with distressed animals, but you work with, what other types of animals do you work with?
Well, some dogs develop nervousness, afraid of sounds. Usually, they're all afraid of abrupt sounds, afraid of thunder and lightning, the normal things that dogs have. But what I do, I use music, soft, Chopin, Beethoven. I use lavender, which is supposed to be a calming remedy. And I use exercise.
Is that for you or for the dogs?
It's for me. It's all for me. We have a treadmill, and the more you exercise the dog, I mean, the dog feels so excited and so useful. Some dogs need jobs. So the fetch and things associated with fetching is a job. So it just goes on because I'm never finished adding to my program of techniques to use.
Well, it's so beautiful to see you there. Now, you had training before this as a physical therapist in one of the major institutions?
Yes. I was in charge of a very large rehabilitation hospital in New York City.
For humans?
Yes, for humans. And I found that very much the same techniques I used on humans, I use on animals. And it works. It's wonderful. But you did refer to me as the dog whisperer, and I have to tell you that you're totally wrong, because I now have a deaf dog and he can't hear me, and now I've taught him sign language, so my whole reputation has to be changed.
Now that's Champ, I believe. I met
Champ,
and Champ is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
This dog, we had some footage of it, and I am heartsick that it was destroyed.
Yes.
It was like so wonderful. But Mike has been working with them, and I think Kathy also have been working with them.
The whole staff learned how to do sign language for dogs.
Right.
Yes, and he just is so smart, and now his whole world has opened up because he couldn't hear a thing. Now he can hear a thing, but he can communicate, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Now, he was surrendered, I believe, because they thought that he was
Stupid.
Yeah,
and he happens to be very bright.
So
that's miscommunication, and I'd rather have him with us than with the people he was with. And we're going to find somebody very special very special. Believe me, that dog is not going out until I give the okay. He's just so wonderful.
How difficult is it to adopt? I know a lot of people talk that they would adopt a rescue pet, but the process is so difficult to go through that it's easier just to go out and buy a puppy. What have you done to make it easier for people to just adopt a rescue pet?
Okay, well, our pets are not animals to us. They're our little babies. So how easy is it to adopt a little baby? Okay, it's the same process. We check everything about you and make sure that you have, first of all, have the right amount of love and patience, that you have the time to put into the animal. Hopefully your landlord will okay the whole situation.
Do you go to the premises
Oh,
and check
absolutely.
where
We check the
live?
premises, and then we have the right to go later and make sure everything is good. And we give them a healthy dog with all the shots and everything. And if anything is, if they need us, they just have to pick up the phone, and we're right there.
I know in California, when I adopted Nicolette, they have an inspection, but they also wanted to have a fenced-in area. They wouldn't let a dog go to like even an
We would
apartment.
prefer that, yeah. No, we would prefer that because dogs need to be exercised, they need to be outside, and they need to be free. But you don't want to lose the dog. Now, I think that Lexus is going home all by herself. Lexus, come here, sweetheart. Look at her ears. She's a rabbit. I mean, she is.
No, she is adorable. She really is. And I think that one of the benefits that I've had in working with animals is I'm one of those that was prejudiced against pit bulls. I have to admit that.
Yes.
And it was a great concern because I was afraid of them.
Yes.
And you know, I learned very early as a child. We had beehives. I discovered, and I actually had a beehive, and my dad let me keep it. It was I was picking lilacs one day, and I'm picking the lilacs, and I say, "Oh, there's a honeybee. Ooh, there are 2 honeybees." And then I'm like, "Ah, there are thousands of honeybees on this lilac bush," and I've been tugging at it like that.
Yes.
And my dad said, "You know, I'm going to give you this beehive." And I think, "Oh, great." But he trained me with that, how to work with bees. But the first lesson he taught me was that the bees can smell fear. They can smell fear. And that's been a great lesson. And one of those that I've been afraid in meeting Great Danes, or not Great Danes, but pit bulls, was because I couldn't help my natural tendency to be afraid of pit bulls.
Right. Well, this is the same with every dog, but the pit bull and the Rottweiler. Gina, why don't you bring over one of our cute little guys? But the pit bull and the Rottweiler, they suffer the most because they're the most physical. And because they're physical, they've been trained to guard and to defend. And if you get a pit bull or a Rottie in your hands as a puppy, you will grow the most delicious, wonderful dog.
Gina, if you take a look at the camera, I'd like to introduce you. You were beautiful the day that we were there. And I know that you're going to be needed because our crew needs to work the camera rather than try to control Lexus.
Can I give you this one?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Are you kidding?
There you go.
And now this is Angelie.
Annalie.
Annalie. Okay. And the other one's name is Gusto. Okay.
They came from Georgia.
Ah.
They just arrived in the Hamptons 2 days ago, sorry. And they came from a shelter in Dalton, Georgia. Now, this shelter rescues dogs from other shelters before they're put down for lack of space. There's not a huge population of people who adopt dogs, apparently, in this particular area. So Dalton is connected to shelters like ours that if we have the space, we will step in and take a few dogs and help out. And so Annalie is delicious, and she's part Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh, wow.
And this little guy, Gusto, is a pug Chihuahua. And so, I mean, if this is not America, I don't know what is.
It's so funny how they started having accidents, and then they suddenly got the idea, oh, let's call them designer breeds.
Right.
And now